Hi everyone, in today's class we'll see the concepts of serialization and deserialization. So basically serialization means simply it's a kind of a process of converting an object into byte stream. We can call it as serialization, or we can say it is simply a kind of a process of saving an object into file. We can call it as serialization. It is not only saving an object into file, we can say sending an object over a network, or we can say saving an object into database. These are the different ways you can call. What is the meaning of a serialization? Means if you are going to have an object something like test t equal to new test, this t object I can able to save it in a kind of a file, or I can send over a network. Or I can able to store it in a kind of a database. Right? That is what simply we can call it as serialization. Simply we can say it is simply a kind of a process of converting an object stream into a byte stream. Similarly, what is the meaning of deserialization? The opposite to that serialization. Deserialization means it is a process of converting byte stream into object stream. Right? So trying to get the object from the file, I can call it as deserialization. Or trying to receive an object over the network, I can call it as deserialization. Or trying to get the object which is saved in the database, I can call it as deserialization. Right? So how we are going to build the serialization concept in Java language means first try to observe the concept, then we can go for the execution part. Right? So assume that there is an object. That object is something like t. I want to save it in a file. Something like jk.txt. Good. So now if you want to read it from text to an object, I can say it as a file to an object. I can call it as deserialization. Object to the file, I can say it as serialization. Right? Guys, if you want to write something into the file, what you require? You require to have file output stream, which we have gone through earlier classes. And if you want to read from a kind of an object, I need to have a kind of stream called object output stream, which you can go to the earlier video so that you can get clear idea. Right? Means if I want to save an object into the file jk.txt, I need to use two streams. One is object output stream, another one is file output stream. Similarly, if you want to get an object from the file, I need to have read write. So which means file input stream I need. From that I need to convert it into an object. For that I need to go with the object input stream. Right? So here object output stream is meant for reading the output and reading the object, and file output stream is meant for it is a kind of process of converting. I can say it as object to byte stream. And here it is something like a byte stream to an object. Hope you understood the general meaning of serialization and deserialization. Right? Let me try to explain with an example so that you can get clear idea. So right click on here. So I am trying to create a class. The class name is serialization example. Okay guys, this class is responsible for to execute the entire code. That means I am going to write the business logic here. So for example, there is another class. The class name is something like data, where it contains certain kind of data. Int height equal to 5, int section equal to 6. Now what my requirement is, I want to save this entire data into the file, right? So as if you want to store the data into the file, we need to create a kind of serialization mechanism, right? So I would like to create first data object, data d equal to new data. So once I create object, this object I need to save into file, right? If you want to save into the file, you have to create file output stream, which is available in IO package. File output stream fy is equal to new file output stream, and in which file location you want to save, you have to define that, right? So I would like to save it in this particular location, and the file name is file1.txt, right? So it will throw an error, so you have to handle the exception, throws file not found exception. If the file is not there, it is going to throw exception. And once you created a file output stream, for that or on behalf of it, you have to create object output stream. Over is equal to new object output stream of FOS. Right, again it is going to throw an error, right? So you have to throw IO exception also, right? Now fine, so what you can do now, you need to write the d object, you need to write the d object into the file now, right? If you want to write it, you can go with the object output stream dot, you are going to have a method called write object method is there, write object of what object you need to write, d object, that's it. So these entire three steps I can call it as a serialization mechanism. So I can call it as serialization process starts, and here I can say it as serialization process ends. Okay, so let me try to just write as something like data copied successfully into file. That's it, right? If I am going to execute this one, you are going to say something like exception thread main not serializable exception. What is the meaning of this one? By simply making like this, it is something like we are not making the serialization process. To make it serialization process, you have to have implement an interface called serializable interface mode. Serializable interface. Okay, so which I'm trying to make implements serializable. That's it. Now if you are going to execute this one, data copied into the file successfully. Okay, this is what we call as serialization process. If you go with respect to file1.txt, you are going to get certain data. Observe height something section. So it is going to be in the form of a byte format, right? Simply serialization means it's a process of converting object into byte format. That's it. How we are going to perform the deserialization? You need to create a reading of data from the byte file. That is what file input stream fy is equal to new file input stream, from which file you want to read the data. File1.txt I would like to read the data. Once I would like to read the data from the file input stream, I have to convert into object again. Object input stream oi is equal to new object input stream of FIS, and then I need to read it, right? OIS dot read object. That's it, right? So here you are going to get the data. You are going to get the data. Observe what it is showing an error. So you have to handle the class not found exception. Just make use of it. So here you are going to get certain data, something like sys out of. Let me try to print what you are going to get. Try to observe. Some kind of thing, right? Some kind of address means you are going to get an object, right? That object actually you need to convert into actual format. what data you are going to get? You are going to get the data is related to data class. So you are going to get data at the end, right? So what I can do now, I will try to copy this reference through this reference. So let me try to write in another way so that you can get clarity. Data d3 equal to now I can do something d3 dot height, or else I will try to implement the toString method so that they will print array. Source generate toString. If I am going to execute this one, you are going to get height 5 and section 6. That's it, right? So these things we call it as deserialization. Deserialization process starts, and here you are going to get deserialization process ends. That's it. So simply what I did in the deserialization process starts, we are trying to read the byte data and converting into object format. In serialization process, we are trying to read, we are trying to write uh, object data into file. That's it, right? So guys, can I copy something like this? Can I do it with multiple files? Yes, obviously you can do it, right? For example, if I say class data1 which I would like to implement. So you know the reason why I need to implement the serialization, serializable, right? So similarly, class data2 which I would like to implement serializable. Like this, how many objects if you want to, that many number of objects you can able to serialize. So here int a equal to 7, b equal to 8. Let me take here int c equal to 9, d equal to 10. I am trying to override toStrings methods. Source generate toString method. Here also I am trying to source generate toString method, right? Fine. So if you want to save them into the file, what you can do, I need to create the objects for them. Data 1 d1 equal to new data 1. So how many objects you want to save? So total 3 objects, right? Data 2 d2 equal to new data 2. I want to save them. OS dot write object of d1. OS dot write object of d2. That's it. Similarly, while reading, you have to go with data1 d4 equal to, or else let me go with d4 equal to data1 of OS dot read object. Data2 d5 equal to data2 read object, and I am going to go with all data printing d4 and d5. If I am going to execute this one, are you going to get the data or not? Height 5, section 6, a equals 1, b equal to 8, c equal to 9, d equal to 10. This is what you call deserialization, guys. But here one more important point is there. Can I change this order? If I change this order, try to observe what is going to be happening. You are going to get an exception, class cast exception, which means here OS dot read object is responsible for reading d1 related, means data1 related data. But here what I am trying to do, I am trying to convert into what class? Data2, right? Which means that the order in which you are trying to write the data, you have to make sure order in which writing the objects into the file, same order have to read them. Otherwise you are going to get errors. You are going to get errors, right? Then what we can do, guys, for that alternative solution, while reading the data, while reading the data, can I check for it, what kind of instance it is? What kind of instance? For example, if I say, uh, I am trying to check here. If something like, let me go with this kind of example so that you can get clear idea. Let me say object o equal to something like this. I have read certain data from the file that will be available in the form of object format. If this o reference is instance of type data1, I will go with executing this part. So I will try to declare this outside data1 default so that everybody can able to access it, right? Now you can now observe, if the reading object is related to a kind of data1 type, then I will go for executing this one, otherwise I will go for executing the other one. Hope understood clearly, right? Yes. So here it is throwing an error, the local level default may not be initialized, so let me initialize it with the I'm going to execute it. So which means that what I'm trying to convey to you is, whenever you're trying to deserialize it, you can just check with what it has read. If it has read is of type a certain thing, then I can go for executing the respective thing. Otherwise, I'll go for executing the else parts. Okay. So this is the concept of serialization and deserialization. Okay, fine. Thank you.